While the Bengals lost in the Super Bowl last night is reminding me of the Bearcats in the Peach Bowl and Cincinnati in the college football playoff and in the Super Bowl. They're both very similar, and I'll tell you why on today's episode of Locked On Bearcats.
You are Locked On Bearcats, your daily podcast on the Cincinnati Bearcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you so much for making Locked On Bearcats your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Alex Frank here with you, where today's episode is presented by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. By the way, tomorrow's episode is presented by Rock Auto. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Visit rockauto.com and tell them Locked On sent you. I accidentally said BetOnline was what Tuesday's episode was presented by, so disregard that and know that tomorrow's episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts the car will ever need, your car will ever need. Visit rockauto.com and tell them Locked On sent you, right? Starting a new job in Macon, Georgia today, and a lot going on. Wanted to get episodes recorded in advance, so that's why today's show and Tuesday's show a little bit kind of off the grid, if you will, but we're getting there anyway. So the Bengals losing in Super Bowl 56 last night, 23-20. And look, the Rams deserve to win. They played the better game. Matthew Stafford was really good when he needed to be. Cooper Kupp was really good when he needed to be. I didn't agree with Cooper Kupp winning MVP. I thought Matthew Stafford should have won it, but that's a story for another day. That Rams defensive line is really good, and the Bengals offensive line just broke down. I mean, that's all it is. Joe Burrow did not play bad at all. I thought he played a really good game. Joe Mixon had a great game. T. Higgins was great. Jamar Chase was good. Tyler Boyd was good except for one drop. And at the end of the day, the Rams were 3 points better than the Bengals. If you would have told me that, if you would have told me coming into the season that that's how I would have ended, that's how it would have ended. I would have taken it. I really would have. It doesn't take away the excitement that this season was. I know James Rapine and Jake Lisco, I'm sure, are going to have a lot to unpack. I'm sure there's going to be a lot to unpack for, this week, the next weeks, months. Who knows? When you lose a Super Bowl, and I've never been through this, there's a generation of Cincinnatians who have not been through this. They've been through losing a playoff game, and that's it. They haven't been through losing a Super Bowl. And it's going to be very interesting to see how much that's talked about. The offensive line is not good. And this game just reminded me in so many ways of the Peach Bowl in 2020 and the college football playoff this past year. So if you remember in the Peach Bowl in 2020, Cincinnati gets out to a 11-point second half lead. You're thinking they might even run away with this game. The Bengals last night scored 10 points in the first 5 minutes of the third quarter. I was thinking they might run away with this thing, but they didn't. The Bearcats didn't score the rest of the second half in the Peach Bowl, and the Bengals didn't score in the rest of the second half of the Super Bowl last night. Another similarity. Both teams' offensive lines broke down severely. In the Bearcats' case, it was James Hudson leaving the game due to an ejection from an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Or whatever it was, taunting, something. Targeting, I believe. Forget what it was, but the Bengals' offensive line just got overmatched. I mean, the Rams' defensive front took over the game. Aaron Donald, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, Ashawn Robinson, Gaines. And the Bearcats' offensive line in the second half of the Peach Bowl got outmatched by Georgia's defensive front. Jordan Davis and Azeez Ojulari were spectacular in that game. So there's a lot of similarities. Another thing that I noticed, and this goes to what the Bearcats had this year in the Cotton Bowl: conservative play calling. I just did not like the play calling in several instances. I thought Zach Taylor got tight at times. There were 2 3rd-and-1s where they ran some Samaje Perine. That just does not work. And Samaje Perine has done a lot of good things this season for this team. He's not supposed to be on the field in the Super Bowl on 3rd-and-1s. You get a stop on the first possession of the game, and you get the ball near midfield, and you run it on 3rd-and-1. And then on the last drive of the game, Chase goes for a first down. Boyd gets 9 yards. 2nd-and-1 play doesn't work. 3rd-and-1. You have 2 chances to get a first down. Put the ball in the hands of your best player. And if you are going to run it with Joe Mixon. If you get the first down, life's good. And I thought Perine was going to get it, but he didn't. And the Bearcats in the Cotton Bowl, we saw them not take a lot of shots. We saw them get tight. You can't do that in a championship game. When you're playing a really good team, a star-studded team, like the Bearcats were playing Alabama and the Bengals were playing the Rams. Those were 2 similarities. But something that I thought about after the game that I wish the Bengals would have done more of, and they need to be this. Because if LA can be this, I think Cincinnati can. I'll get to that next here on Locked On Bearcats. But first, a word from our friends at BetOnline.net. Football season might be over for this season, but basketball is in full steam for both pro and college hoops. And from all the latest odds, totals, player performance props to where the next fired coach is going to land, BetOnline.net is the number one spot for all your sports betting needs. BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just basketball. BetOnline.net is your source for hockey, boxing, and UFC odds, right to the Olympic coverage and information. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Once again, thank you for making Locked On Bearcats your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Alex Frank here with you on this Monday after the Super Bowl. Happy Valentine's Day to each and every one of you. The Bengals losing Super Bowl 56 to the Rams, 23-20. It's interesting, and I heard this said once, how teams will take after the identities of their cities. And here in the Midwest, I was thinking about this yesterday. In the Midwest, we are all about hard work and grit and toughness, community, loyalty, resilience. I'm getting a little deep here, but you get what I'm saying. And the West Coast is all about finesse and pretty and showtime and flair. But in the case of the Rams, they were physical. Like the Rams are this pretty looking team. You love watching them play. Their quarterback, Matthew Stafford, has a big arm. They have tremendous playmakers. But then you think about their defensive line. And their offensive line only allowed 2 sacks. So Bengals defensive line that was I thought underrated this season. The Rams, when they needed to be physical, were. Aaron Donald won that game for them. Leonard Floyd and Von Miller had their shares as well. There's a reason why Von Miller's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He can take over games. Aaron Donald's now a Super Bowl champion. You look at the Rams' offensive line, Andrew Whitworth. Has been in the NFL for 16 years. Or 17 years, whatever it is. Great pass blocker. Great offensive lineman in general. The Bengals are from Cincinnati. And yet, they have never had a team that's been what Midwestern characteristics are. Tough, gritty, in the trenches. They've never had those teams. Yes, the 81 and 88 teams were like that, but they haven't had a team like that since then. The Bengals have been good because they've had electrifying offenses and opportunistic defenses. And that's what they have this year. But they weren't physical enough up front, especially on the offensive line, that broke down at the worst time. They could not hold up in the last minute of the game or in the third and fourth quarters. The Bengals only got to the 50-yard line, I think twice or once after going up 20 to 13. I give the defense a lot of credit, but I just wish that the Bengals would take after the identity of their city. Look at the Bearcats. You know, the one thing I love about what Cincinnati has done, the Bearcats, is they've adopted a tough and nasty style of play. And I think it can compete with Big Ten teams. We saw it against Indiana this past year. We saw it against Notre Dame. And I say Indiana because the Big Ten is like that. In the Big Ten, it's in the Midwest, and the teams take after the identities of their cities. Excuse me as I put my Twitter handle up, at Frankie_Natty. I just wish that the Bengals would take after this city's identity, what it should be like the Bearcats. Look at the Browns. In Cleveland, their offensive line is built the way the city is built, on hard work and toughness. Steelers, Ravens. You look around the Big Ten, and the Bearcats have adopted that. And you wish the Bengals would too, because I do think that they can start playing physical with other teams. We saw them do it this year in the division, but in the playoffs against Tennessee, they got away with that game. And the Rams are better than the Titans. And they showed. That defensive front is really good. And the offensive line did an admirable job in the first half. But, and we've seen this with Cincinnati, the Bearcats against Georgia, and we saw it again last night. That offensive line can break down at the worst time. A little bit of a shorter show today. Back in just a moment here on Locked On Bearcats. But first, a word from Built Bar. I can timestamp this, because this is the time of year that I've pretty much given up on all of my New Year's resolutions, but not this year because I'm sticking to it by eating right thanks to Built Bar. It almost feels like it's not really a resolution because I actually enjoy eating them. Have you ever tried the Puffs? If you haven't, you're missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first ever protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar, they're a treat, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. All Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. Yes, Puffs included. Low calorie, high protein. Replace your candy bars with these. They are better, I can attest. A typical candy bar can be anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. Built Bars only contain 130 calories. Mint brownie, coconut almond, and new for this month, white chocolate cookies and cream. That sounds good. They're all delicious, and new flavors are coming out all the time. If they think a flavor might be good, they'll make it. It will be delicious, and it will be good for you. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. Once again, thank you for making Locked On Bearcats your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Alex Frank here with you on this Monday after the Super Bowl. The Bengals losing to the Rams 23-20. I was thinking about this, and I've heard Mo talk about it. I heard this line first mentioned by, it was one of Gambler and Finn. If you listen to Gamble and Finn on Thursday nights, 700 WLW. And the line was before the season started, which feels like a year ago. It's only in September. The line was, if not now, when? And I think that was referring to the Bengals actually doing something meaningful. They did something very meaningful this year. This season is a success beyond measures. That's what this season is. I know they didn't win the Super Bowl, but this season is a success. The Cincinnati sports curse is broken. That's a thing of the past. Because the curse was about this team winning playoff games, this city winning playoff series, not winning the championship. The Bengals finally broke through with the playoff game by winning that. The Bearcats had almost broken it by making the college football playoff. But, that said, if not now, when? Cincinnati had an opportunity to win a championship last night. They didn't. And it's so easy because I do think the Bearcats will get back. The Bengals will get back to the Super Bowl. I think the Bearcats are going to go back to the college football playoff. But it is worth wondering if this city did not win this year with this team and the way the game was going last night, when are they going to? When will the Bearcats win a national championship? Remember when the Bearcats lost to Nevada in 2018? If they didn't get to the Final Four that year, when were they going to? It was very, very easy to wonder.